Hey toy fans, D21 Beast Rob here, back with another figure review for you guys here today. And today we're looking at the Marvel Legends Civil War 3-pack, available from Hasbro. Now this is a box set that I think a lot of us are interested in. It comes with the first MCU Spider-Man figure, which is pretty cool. And then we get some battle damage versions of Captain America and Iron Man. Now the Cap and the Iron Man were actually part of the Giant Man Build-A-Figure wave of figures that came out earlier this year. From that wave, I've only picked up Nick Fury and Black Panther, so despite Steve and Tony being repaints in this box set, this will actually be my first time looking at them. Alright toy fans, so taking a look at the packaging, this box is similar to what we've seen with previous 3-pack figure assortments. We've got a giant window box packaging that's essentially an elongated version of a standard single-carded Marvel Legends figure. Up top, we do have a window to allow light to filter in through the package. Then on the top front, we've got that updated Legend Series logo, and a window box that does house the figures inside as well as their accessories. Below that is the official Captain America Civil War logo. And finally, the figures' names, Spider-Man, Captain America, and Iron Man. As we flip the package around, we've got the Marvel Legends Series logo in the upper left, and a bio for these figures in the upper right. It reads, "When the lines between right and wrong are blurred, which heroes will emerge victorious?" And for those of us who've seen the movie, we know the answer's not really so clear-cut. Towards the center of the packaging, we do have some nice glamour shots of the MCU Spidey figure, Captain America, and Iron Man. And then we just have the legal jargon there towards the bottom. Alright toy fans, well that's the packaging. Let's get these figures out of the box and see what they're all about. Alright toy fans, so here we have Cap, Spidey, and Iron Man out of the packaging. And really quick, I'd like to give a special shout out to Tommy Toy Travels for letting me know that this box set was on sale on Dorkside Toys. Link to that video is in the description below or swinging out in the card up here. And I want to give a special thanks to my brother Greg for actually putting up the funds to buy this box set. Now of the 3 figures that we're looking at here, let's take a look at Captain America first. Alright, so starting off with Captain America, there's not a lot new to this figure. We originally got this Captain America mold back during Captain America the Winter Soldier with the Stealth Suit Cap figure. And that was a really great Captain America figure back when it released. So good, in fact, that I didn't even feel the need to pick up the Avengers Age of Ultron version of Captain America when it released last year. That figure was largely the same sculpt as the Winter Soldier Cap, but with a brand new sculpted chest piece to make him more screen accurate. Well now, the Civil War Captain America is the same thing as Age of Ultron, but instead of being molded in a bright blue plastic like the Captain America from Age of Ultron, this new Civil War Cap is actually molded in a darker navy blue costume, similar to what we got with the Winter Soldier Captain America figure, and a lot more screen accurate than the Age of Ultron cap that we have off to the left. But as I said in my intro, this is actually the second version of the Civil War Captain America figure. The main difference between this Captain America figure and the one that we got with the Giant Man wave earlier this year is that this Captain America figure actually has battle damage. As we look at the figure, you're going to see that he does have some scorch marks or some burn marks, I don't know what you'd really call those, on his helmet. As we come down, he's got some more on his torso. Coming down the rest of the figure, it looks like he's got a little bit on his knee here. Flipping him around, there's not really any battle damage on the back. So there's just a nice sort of dark overspray on the figure. But I do have to say, while the battle damage is a nice addition to this figure, I don't think it does enough to separate it from the Captain America we received just a few short months ago. Perhaps the one potential saving grace for you with this Captain America figure are his accessories. He actually comes with an interchangeable Steven Rogers head, and this is the same head that we saw with the Age of Ultron Captain America as well as the Winter Soldier Captain America, except it is sculpted in a lighter colored plastic that also appears to be a bit more matte. I don't see as much light reflecting off the face of this guy as I see when I pull in the Winter Soldier Captain America head. You'll see it does tend to reflect a lot more. The skin tone is also, I think, more natural on the Winter Soldier Cap than what we're seeing with the Civil War Cap head. You can kind of be the judge on what you think, but I do think I prefer the Winter Soldier version of the Captain America interchangeable head versus this new Civil War one. But that's not its only accessory. Captain America also comes with this battle damage shield. And this shield does look pretty cool, admittedly, but I kind of wish it was more movie accurate. When Cap's shield got some scratches in it in the movie, it's because Black Panther actually raked his claws across the shield, and I wish I would have painted that detail on the shield itself. It's also worth noting though that this is different from what we got with Winter Soldier Cap. Inside, you're going to see that we do have a double set of straps. Underneath the smaller wrist strap, you'll notice that the plastic molding that's here on the left side of the shield is not continued on the right side. That's different from the Winter Soldier shield, which had the plastic molding continuing on the right side, and actually made this shield really difficult to put on Captain America's arm without pulling off his interchangeable hand. Now I don't know, because I never picked up the Age of Ultron cap figure, if they changed that for the Age of Ultron cap. Let me know in the comments below, but I like that it's actually gone from this newer shield. It just slips onto the figure's wrist way easier than the older shield did, and it's nice because this cap doesn't actually have interchangeable hands like those older Captain America figures did. So definitely a nice touch on Hasbro's part. And just for fun, here we have the Civil War Battle Damage Captain America figure, compared to the Captain America from the first Avenger movie, originally exclusive to Walmart but recently re-released with the Hulkbuster Build-A-Figure wave in the UK, and the Winter Soldier Captain America figure. And taking a look at these two Captain America figures standing next to each other, I'm surprised to see that the Winter Soldier version of Cap is just a little bit shorter than the Civil War version. In fact, it looks like the Civil War Captain America has actually got a bit of a taller torso than the Winter Soldier version. Wonder what that's about. So with Captain America out of the way, that leaves Spider-Man and Iron Man. Let's take a look at Iron Man. As I stated in my intro, this is actually my first chance to get my hands on the Civil War Captain America Iron Man armor. And I've got to say, I love the sculpt of this thing. If you haven't seen this before, he's actually got a brand new head sculpt, not a reused one like we've seen with plenty of Iron Man movie figures in the past. I like the way that the battle damage looks on this figure. Not only does he have sort of the black marks on his face, but they've actually gone in and put scuffs in the armor, painted those as sort of a separate decal on top of that, separate deco rather. I think that's really, really cool. Coming down the rest of the figure, again, great sculpted detail, more sort of black marks with scorches on them, or rather scorch marks with scratches in them, and overall just a really nice looking Iron Man figure. If this is the only Iron Man figure you pick up from Civil War, I don't think you'll be disappointed. True, you'll have to stare at battle damage the whole time, but to me it comes off as just a great looking figure overall. It's also worth noting it's not the first time that Hasbro has given us a repaint of a movie Iron Man figure and just added battle damage. Back during the first Avengers movie, we actually got a re-release of the Iron Man 2 Mark VI armor in a Walmart exclusive Avengers figure line. For my money, this battle damage paint deco actually increases the fun factor and playability of these Iron Man figures, and I think it comes off looking better and actually more natural to the style of the figure versus the battle damage that we were seeing with the repaint Captain America we just looked at a moment ago. You may also have noticed that this new Civil War Iron Man figure appears a bit wider in the torso and even longer in the arms and legs. He's just generally a bigger person than the actual Avengers Iron Man figure that we received a few years back. In fact, he's actually the tallest of all the MCU Iron Man figures that we've received so far from Hasbro. Like the Captain America that we've already looked at with this box set, this Iron Man figure does feature some additional accessories. He's got the same blast effects that he came with the Giant Man Build-A-Figure wave, although these ones are a bit different. The blue flames, for instance, which fit into his hands and his feet, don't have that sort of white, frosted look added to them to give some dimensionality to the flames. I wish they would have retained that on these figures. It's a bit disappointing to see that missing. But there are two sets. Again, they both fit in his hands and his feet, but he also has a really cool accessory that's exclusive to this box set, and probably one of the big reasons you're going to want to pick this up, aside from the Spidey figure. We get an interchangeable Robert Downey Jr. style Iron Man head, certainly the most successful attempt I've seen so far from Hasbro to capture the likeness of actor Robert Downey Jr. The facial hair has been painted cleanly, the eyes and the eyebrows, and even the hair itself has some nice sculpted detail in it. Pulling it in closer, I especially like the sort of bags underneath the eyes and even just the little things like the wrinkles coming down the side of the face. This is a very impressive head sculpt overall. And I just want to take a quick moment to compare the Downey head sculpts that I've got so far in my collection. There's the Mark I Iron Man from the first film, no likeness to Robert Downey Jr. whatsoever. There's the Mark 43 armor that we got last year with Avengers Age of Ultron. The upper face mask does kind of bury the likeness of the actor just a little bit when he's staring straight on, but trust me, the likeness is pretty good, but not quite there. And then of course we've got the brand new head sculpt we received with the Civil War box set. Definitely my favorite look so far. Now we did actually receive an additional Tony Stark head sculpt during Iron Man 2. It's the same look, sunglasses and all that Tony sported when he was at the donut restaurant. I never picked up that figure, but based on photos I've seen of the figure, while it does look pretty good for Downey with sunglasses, the new Civil War head sculpt is certainly a marked improvement. And hey, if you're like me, you're probably curious if this new MCU Tony head sculpt fits on any of your older Iron Man figures in your collection. Well, feel free to shop around. I find the head fits with varying degrees of success on all of these previous Iron Man figures, but delightfully, I find it even fits pretty comfortably on some suited action figures. So go nuts! And now that I've kept you waiting with bated breath, let's take a look at Spidey. And here we have him, folks, our plucky young teenage hero straight out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Taking a look at the figure up close, you'll see that this Spidey figure does have some pretty intricately detailed eyes. You'll notice several layers around the eye holes for the mask that kind of resemble the irises that open and close around his eyes in this version of the Spider-Man costume, so that was a nice attention to detail on Hasbro's part. The web lines themselves are sculpted pretty deep into the actual sculpt of the figure. I do find them a little bit too deep, but you know, they actually look great from a distance, so I can't exactly fault them. It's just kind of a minor quibble. Coming down the figure though, those web lines do continue pretty nicely and pretty cleanly. We've also got that sort of black piping, I guess, that the new suit has. Hopefully they kind of remove that from the costume once they feel like they've gotten enough distance from the Andrew Garfield version of the character. We do have the spider emblem on the chest. It's been a bit controversial on this figure. The legs are not the same as they actually looked in screenshots from the film, so this is probably an early prototype and all that Hasbro had to work with when they were putting this guy into production. Coming down the figure, we just have some, blue pants and then his boots, more of that sort of black piping around the boots themselves, and a detail I never noticed in the film is that the heels of his costume are actually solid black. So, overall, I find the sculpt of this figure pretty good. However, I do find his overall color palette a bit darker than I remember seeing in the film Captain America Civil War. Hasbro was very conscious of the height of the actor playing the new Spider-Man, Tom Holland, and this Spidey figure is actually the shortest of all the movie Spider-Man figures that we've received so far, in the 6-inch scale. And of course I have to include that 6-inch caveat because for some strange reason Hasbro thought we wanted shorter figures when Spider-Man 3 released. Hi guys! Accessory-wise, it could be argued that Spidey's designed to come with Captain America's shield. We've already taken a look at that, but it's worth noting that the wrist strap for Cap's shield doesn't actually fit around the right wrist for the Spider-Man figure. Given his whipping hand, you're just not going to get it on there. And that's a bit disappointing, especially when you want to try to pose this guy holding the shield like he did in the trailer. Now, the shield does fit on Spidey's left arm, but of course that's not as screen accurate to that particular moment. And this kind of highlights one of my complaints about the figure. This Spidey comes with absolutely nothing. This box set has an interchangeable head for Cap and an interchangeable head for Iron Man, but we don't get a Tom Holland head for this Spider-Man figure. And given the issue I just mentioned with the shield and his flipping hand, we don't even get any interchangeable hands for this figure. And that's something we've come to expect with Spider-Man figures as of late. Unfortunately, to me, this figure seems like it's a bit of a cash grab on Hasbro's part. I would not be surprised if we get this exact same sculpt next year when Sony's new Spider-Man film comes out, and then we get interchangeable hands, possibly whipping accessories, and even a Tom Holland head. It just seems like it would probably be a better value. We'll have to wait and see what gets announced, but I have a hunch by next summer, nobody's going to really care that this figure exists anymore. And that's probably something you want to keep in mind if you want to drop the money on this box set. But since this Spidey figure is the newest figure of the day, let's go ahead and take a look at the articulation. His head will bend back pretty far, down pretty far. He's got the same butterfly shoulder joints that we've come to expect from the more modern Spider-Man figures. Rotates all the way around at the shoulder and bends out from the body about that far. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbow, wrist rotates all the way around, bends back that far and down that far. Very nice articulation there. Ab crunches all the way down, bends back very far, and the detail of the costume is continued. Waist rotation, a hip that'll go forward that far, go back that far, out from the body, not as far, upper thigh swivel, double jointed knees, and a foot that'll bend forward that far, back that far, and he's got that great Hasbro ankle pivot. Now I also should note that the hip joints for this Spider-Man figure are actually better than what we've seen with the Pizza Spidey. He can actually rotate his leg up and over much farther than the Pizza Spidey could, so you're going to get him in more of those great classic Spider-Man poses. So I do appreciate Hasbro listening to our feedback on that front. Height-wise, we can see that Captain America does stand just a bit around 6.5 inches tall. Spider-Man stands closer to 6 inches tall, and Iron Man actually stands around 6 3/4 inches tall. And here they are compared to the 6-inch scale Marvel Legends Infinite Series Wolverine. Alright, toy fans, so that's my review of the Marvel Legends Civil War 3-pack released by Hasbro in 2016. Overall, this is a pretty interesting box set idea, but I don't know that it was executed as well as it could have been. There's not enough different about the Captain America figure to really stand it apart from the other offering we already received this year. I do like the battle damage paint deco on the Civil War Iron Man figure. He might actually be my favorite figure from this 3-pack. And that Tony Stark head is a major plus. The Spider-Man figure seems decent enough in sculpt and design, but I also feel like the figure's really a bit of an afterthought, or worse yet, a cash grab. Where are his accessories? I can't shake the feeling that we're going to get a better version of this figure in less than a year. And as a result, this first time in the line Spidey figure is leaving me a bit cold. Since this box set consists of 2 repaints and a figure we're likely to get reissued in a very short amount of time, I feel compelled to give this box set a rating of skip it. But I do really like what Hasbro's done with the Iron Man, and if you can't wait until next year for a fully featured Spider-Man, I suppose this one will do in the meantime. So if you've gotta have it, I recommend you wait till you can find it on clearance. Well, thanks for watching this review, toy fans. I hope you enjoyed it. Did you think I was a bit harsh? Let me know in the comments below. If you guys like what you saw here, give this video a big thumbs up. It really helps me out and lets me know that you like what I'm doing. You can always keep up with me on Twitter and Instagram at D21Beast, and I'll see you guys next time.